All right, it's another beautiful day in pre-calculus. Today's date, which you should be writing, I didn't do it last time, but today's date is Wednesday, August 28th. Please write the date at the top right. Christopher, Gio, you're writing the date.
Yes, sir.
Make sure, ahead of me, nice. Put your name and date. Today is complex numbers. Who wants to read our objective for today? Chris, go for it. No. We're not playing class draft, unless you want to.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, I think we should.
We should?
That motivates.
Oh, wait.
Can I speak?
No.
Okay, so minus HP.
Yeah, starting now, minus.
We'll play Classcraft. I'll set that up after we do the lesson today while you guys are working on the homework. And Chris, remind me to give you 50 XP. What is the objective, Chris?
Classify parts of complex numbers and graph them on the complex.
So there's two. Classify them and graph them. All right, so here are the parts of a complex number. Everyone, go ahead and annotate. So Z is a complex number. A is the real part. B is the imaginary part. B is imaginary because it's attached to that imaginary unit I, which we reviewed yesterday. So, the hardest thing to remember of today's lesson is this. Real numbers, right here, are part of complex numbers. That means if I give you the number 7, that is a complex number because technically 7 is a real number, which is part of complex numbers. So James, is 8 a complex number? Were you listening to what I just said?
I wasn't listening.
You're right, but you sounded hesitant, so that's why I was trying to press you. 8 is a complex number because 8 is a real number. 8 is technically a whole number, which is also an integer, which is also a rational number, which is also a real number, which is also a complex number. So 8 is all of those things.
Oh.
So what's the fake number?
What do you mean a fake number?
Well, there's a real number. It has to be a fake number.
So real versus imaginary, I guess, is the comparison. Real versus imaginary.
Okay, so
Imaginary numbers are
what's a
poorly
real
named.
What's a real number again?
A real number is like pi.
What's pi?
3.1415926.
So
So is an imaginary number like... Doesn't it just have to have...
Think of an imaginary number as a shadow number. It adds a new dimension. You've been working in the shadow dimension your whole lives, you just didn't know it. And that's what I'm trying to teach you. I'm teaching about this shadow dimension.
Why don't they teach us that when we're like starting?
Because it's not that hard of a concept, but it does make math a little bit complicated, I guess. There's actually a bunch of other things that we haven't taught you yet, like aleph, null, but again, you won't learn about that until later. Because technically, yeah. Well, anyway, let's go to our example. So I say I have the complex number z, and that complex number is 6 minus 4i. What is the real part of z? Quiet raise hand. Oh, okay. Let's get in the habit of doing quiet raise hands on default, unless I say shout out the answer or just shout out. So quiet raised hand, the imaginary part of z is what? That would be a deduction in HP if I was keeping track of class graph, which I guess I will not be doing until the end of the lesson. Eva, yes, that quiet raised hand.
-4.
It is indeed -4. All right, so moving down here to example number 2. What type of number is this thing? 104i minus 33.24. Is it A and B, A, B, and C, A and C, B and C? You can choose as many as you would like. Quiet raised hand, is it A and B, B and C? What is it, Gio? Take it back. Quiet raised hand, Fiona? C? Give her a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Everyone votes, everyone votes, everyone votes. You have to do up or down. Make a decision. Up or down, up or down, up or down.
yes.
James, what are you? Chris, what are you? Chris, come on, vote. You have a 50-50 shot. Everyone else is doing thumbs up. What are you going to do? Okay, Chris is right. Everyone else is wrong. Chris is right. It is not just C. It is also... Oh,
Wait, you circle?
it is actually C. Sorry, Chris.
Wait, you're gonna circle everything?
You can circle real and complex. Let's try number 3. Everyone had it right, except for Chris. Number 3. What type of number is 78? Quiet raise hand if you know it. Gio, go for it. And? A and C. There it is. Thank you, Gio. It is both real and complex.
Why is it complex?
It is always complex because complex encompasses both real and imaginary. Good question, Chris. Does that make sense?
So oh my god.
Always choose complex. All right. We're on the back. Plotting complex numbers. Here is the thing. This thing is called the complex plane. What was the old thing that we were dealing with? Does anyone remember the old name? There it is. Thank you, Fiona. Old was the coordinate plane. The old coordinate plane went like this. It went X and Y. I think we all remembered that one because we've been using it forever. The new one looks like this. Here's the complex plane where the real numbers are graphed on the old x-axis and the imaginary, I'm just going to abbreviate imaginary, are graphed on the old y-axis. So far, so good. Let's practice graphing them then. Example 4. Plot this -6 minus 3i on the complex plane below. Go, try it. Well, -6 on the real, and then -3 in the imaginary.
Is it supposed to be just one thing?
So 1 point. Where is that point? If you graphed this point, you are correct. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you were correct or if you made a mistake. Darn, no one learned. Everyone, it's too easy. If it's too easy, you're not learning. We'll learn eventually. I'll get to harder stuff. You're definitely learning calculus. Go ahead and graph -2 plus I, also on the same plane. Where is -2 plus I? I graphed it in red. Did you get it correct? Darn, too easy. Okay, we'll learn eventually. That's all we're doing today. You need to know how to graph those points and be able to classify numbers. That was the objective. Give me a fist of 5 on the objective. Are you a 5 out of 5, a 2 out of 5? Chris, you are not a 1 out of 5. Cool. I mean, it is a review lesson, so I am expecting a lot of those 5s. Do not do the summary now. The summary has to be done out of class. I want you to forget, down that curve of forgetting, and then review by going back to the notes and writing a quick summary. Your summary does not need to be complete sentences. You can just do bullet points. For example, maybe tonight you're thinking, okay, complex is everything.
Wait, so I have a question.
Yes.
So in this class, we're doing homework on type.
Yes. Chris, please stop. And then maybe another bullet point is a complex plane has an imaginary axis and a complex axis. Or maybe I just draw a picture of what that complex plane is. You can also Cornell your notes. The most important thing, of course, is the summary. But if you want to Cornell your notes and say, okay, I think the most important part about today's lesson was this thing, and I'll star this, or I'll highlight this, or I'll underline that. That is called Cornelling your notes. You should be doing that as well. Of course, making the summary is the most important part of Cornelling your notes. All right, everyone is going on to Khan Academy. Good job.